Hey, what's going on, guys? Jason Frausto for TennisUnleashed.net, and welcome to part one of our 2022 French Open Finals analysis between Rafael Nadal and Casper Ruud. To find out how Nadal beat Ruud in the finals, stay tuned because it's coming up next. All right, so before we jump in, I want to get into the points won by rally length numbers. A lot of times guys make the mistake on clay of trying to beat Nadal with just pure aggression. It doesn't work. You have to use a combination of aggression, angles, consistency, and well-placed serves to beat him. Most guys just kind of want to try to overpower him, and it's not the way to handle business. So let's look at these numbers here real quick. 1 to 4 shot points in this match were 39% of all the points that were played, with Nadal winning 51% of those. 5 to 8 shot points were 34% of the points played in this match, with Nadal winning 71% of those. 9 to 12 shot points were 17% of the points played, with Rafa winning 58% of those. And 13 plus shot points were 10% of the points played, with Nadal winning 71% of those. So really, once the points got beyond 4 shots, Rafa really dominated in this match. Let's take a closer look at some of these points now to see exactly how he did that. All right, so in the first point, we got Rafa on the far side serving and Ruud on the near side returning, and let's look at some of those skills from Rafa. First things first, wide serve, really wide here from Rafa on the ad side, dragging Ruud out and getting him to stretch and reach. And we know that when you're stretching and reaching on shots, especially from deeper positions in the court, like this is a zone 5 position from Ruud, you're typically going to end up hitting balls that land short in zone 1. But let's actually see what happens in this particular point. And Ruud accidentally hits short there in zone 1, which gives Rafa the opportunity, right, to immediately step forward and try to get aggressive with his forehand. And Rafa, he's leaning with his body forward. He knows this is an opportunity, especially with Ruud way off the court over here on the other side. So let's see what happens with this forehand. Look at that aggressive position from Rafa with the legs. Drives Ruud from one end of the court here to the opposite end of the court, and Ruud is on defense. There's a couple cues that we can look at to see the defense, right? Number one, look at the follow-through position from Ruud here. He's really lifting up over his head, which means he's trying to usually get depth or some type of angle with the shot. And then number two, he's just on the run from one side of the court to the other, right? So from here, Ruud lifts, does a great job here of countering Nadal's aggressive forehand to the open court, right? The only thing Rafa could have really done better with it is gotten this deeper. Instead of a zone 2 ball, hit that thing deep in zone 3, and he probably ends up forcing the air, doing damage, and finishing Ruud there. But Ruud counters and does a phenomenal job of getting this ball deep in zone 3, right? Not easy to do from that position right there, but finds zone 3 depth and gets Rafa on his back foot. And I'd say the newest thing for me, and it's kind of out of the Djokovic playbook, is his ability to maneuver the ball and control the ball from bad positions. So Ruud did a phenomenal job to hit this ball really deep, and Rafa's in a poor position. His body's going backwards. He's in a defensive position. But what he's done in the last couple years for me that's taken him over the top and added to that Grand Slam total is his ability to control balls and maneuver them still from these poor positions. And he does this in a really smart way. Is instead of hitting it really aggressive, his goal here is basically to keep Ruud running from this side of the court to the other side of the court. So he changes direction off his back foot, which normally, in a coaching realm, you wouldn't tell your student to change directions off their back foot because it's a risky shot. But what he does is he takes a little bit of the pace off, right? Which gives him more control over the shot, and he redirects it and changes the direction without hitting it super aggressive. So he gets the ball close to the sideline here without hitting it super aggressive, and just keeps Ruud running. So Ruud again here hitting a defensive slice. We can see that position there. And he hits short again in zone 2. And now again, Rafa has a very good look with this zone 2 ball to get aggressive. He can either go behind Ruud and try to wrong foot him on the clay, or he can go to the open court and just try to finish him with some damage. And let's see what he actually does here. There's that hook forehand down the line. He surprises Ruud. Ruud thinks, hey, maybe it's going to the backhand, but Rafa goes forehand, and then that forces the air right there. So that's one of the biggest improvements I've seen with Nadal personally, is his ability to direct the ball from poor positions better than in the past. Let's jump into the second point now. So we've got Ruud up top here serving, right? Rafa on the bottom receiving. Let's take a look at this. Ruud pops the aggressive flat first serve right down the tee, and again gets Rafa in a position where Rafa is reaching here and he's stretching. And we can see the follow through that Rafa uses, right? He goes with that reverse hook forehand up because he's trying to get depth on the shot. Let's see if he actually gets that depth. Gets it here in zone 2, right? Not super deep, but it's a decent ball. And Ruud, we can see Ruud's positioning, especially with the amount of coil of his upper body right here. Ruud is going to take this ball inside out. So we know by his position here, he's going to get aggressive to the ad side right here and take it to Rafa's forehand. You can see that by his body position. And he does just that. Whacks it deep into zone 3. Okay. And not only is it a zone 3 ball right there, but it's also a small target right here. So it's kind of the double whammy is what I like to call it. Getting depth with the ball close to the sidelines. 9 times out of 10, you'll usually win a point doing that. But because Nadal's defense is so good, he may not win this point. Let's see what happens. Nadal comes over and stretches for the defense, right? So he knows he needs to stretch out and play some defense here and really try to get back into the court, get back into position, and get some depth on Ruud's side of the court if he can. But let's see what actually happens here. He really gets that height and gets depth on the shot. One thing with the slice, though, when you're playing defense with a slice, if it's a higher slice like this, you're going to get the depth like Rafa got here, right? So he's trying to neutralize Ruud, but you're really never going to push your opponent back with this high loopy type of slice, okay? The opportunity to push somebody back is using topspin. So Nadal couldn't do that here, but he still gets the depth, which gives him time to get ready for Ruud's next shot, which is probably going to be aggressive. So let's see what Ruud does right here. Ruud really loading up with the forehand again, and judging by the body position here, it definitely looks like Ruud's going to take this and go down the line to the open court. And you can see Rafa actually is reading it with his eyes, and he knows Ruud's going here. So Rafa's actually leaning this way. That's one of his skills, right, is the ability to really anticipate well, and he sees this basically ahead of time. So Ruud does take it and rip it down the line, almost a small target again. So almost back-to-back small targets here. But Rafa, with his anticipation, is able this time to hit topspin instead of a slice, right? And this is that phenomenal ball control, Djokovic-esque ball control from bad positions. There it is, literally back-to-back. So he takes 2 aggressive shots from Ruud and counters in both situations. The first one he countered by getting depth here on that slice, right? The second one here, he's countering and he's doing damage because he's got Ruud on his back foot. So he's doing counter damage and getting out of a really tough position here. And now Ruud more than likely will hit short off his back foot, and he does that. And this is a good opportunity for Rafa to get aggressive if he wants to get aggressive, okay? He's moving forward inside of the court. He's got his shoulders turned, racket off to the side with that leg, right, getting ready to spank that shot if he wants to. Let's see what he actually does with this. And he kind of just hits a normal rally ball down the line. He's happy to rally in this position. Ruud hits a rally ball back that lands in zone 2 again. Nadal hits a very weak ball here. That was actually really surprising that he didn't do anything with this particular shot. This is super weak, sitting in literally in zone 1 right here. But the issue for Ruud is he doesn't really recognize it, he doesn't anticipate it as well as Nadal does, and he's not on top of this ball ready to pounce and attack. This is Ruud's shot right here. It's the only ball Rafa has hit in this point, landing in zone 1. Ruud needs to get on top of this and get aggressive. But he's surprised, and he has this low contact point right here, right? It's about a knee height ball. And that low contact pretty much ensures he will not get super aggressive with the shot. But let's see what he actually does with this. So there down the line, right? And he accidentally hits in zone 1 off of zone 1, which is usually not what you want to do. If Rafa wants to get aggressive here, this would be a perfect time to do so. And he thumps a small target right into zone 3, right? So the double whammy, it's that red ball, and forces Ruud here into the air, does damage, right? So once Rafa got his first zone 1 ball right there, then he cracks it and forces Ruud into that air. Excellent from Nadal. That's really part of his biggest evolution, is really his ability now to control balls from tough positions and get great depth on them. He was kind of notorious in the past for getting these difficult balls and then hitting short off them. Now he's finding zone 3 a lot more often. And for Rafa, the stats really back this up, right? So I like to track depth in these matches and see what happens. Rafa's been, kind of second fiddle to Novak Djokovic in a lot of matches. He's played him where Novak's gotten the better of him with depth. But in this match, Nadal hit 27% of his shots deep in zone 3, and Casper Ruud hit just 22% of his shots deep in zone 3. So Nadal won the battle of depth and really punished Ruud anytime he got those balls shorter in zone 1. One thing Rafa has that a lot of guys don't have, and we'll jump into this point in a second, is something I like to call a one-shot ability. The ability to finish a person with the first opportunity that you get, and not everybody has the ability to do that. His monster forehand gives him the ability to one-shot people in matches. So let's take a look at this first point now and take a look at an example of it. So we've got Ruud here serving on the far side and Nadal returning on the near side. And let's take a look at this point. Ruud with a nice kick serve right down the tee. Rafa comes over, and he's pretty comfortable from this position, hitting that two-hander, right? And ends up hitting this, though, short in zone 1. And this is Ruud's opportunity to really step up and try to one-shot Rafa from this position, but let's see if he can actually do it. So he steps around, he's getting ready to crank that big forehand. He hits it inside out, and he gets Nadal into a defensive position, right? But it's clearly not enough to finish Rafa. Rafa still looks pretty comfortable from this position with his balance and his body position. And again, though, Rafa hits again into zone 1. So there's a lot of opportunities for Ruud to try to finish. Let's see if he can do it here. Cracks it again, inside out. But the sting, the one-shot ability from Ruud really just isn't there when you compare it to Nadal. This one lands short in zone 2. Let's see what Rafa does with this one. And this time, Rafa's like, okay, no more zone 1 balls for you. Those are too short. You're not really doing anything to me. You're not damaging me. But I'm going to take this one. I'm going to float this one just a little bit deeper, and I'm going to get this one closer to zone 3, right? It's really on the edge of zone 3. And you can see Ruud is very uncomfortable here. This is something I noticed a lot in this match, is Ruud kind of had to bail out to this backhand slice anytime Rafa hit really deep and really heavy, right? So he'd bail out to this backhand slice and give Rafa a lot of short balls. Let's see what happens here. There it is, right? So it's not a zone 1 ball, but it doesn't need to be. It's a short, weak slice in zone 2. And just look at Rafa's footwork trail here, right? So goes from a deep position in zone 5 and really gets up there with his feet and gets inside of zone 3 because he knows this is time to get aggressive. All right, now is the time. Ruud, you've given me something really weak here. And there's the one shot, okay? And it just looks so easy for Rafa. Remember, Ruud had 2 opportunities in this point with zone 1 balls to try to finish Rafa or damage him significantly. Could not do it. As soon as Rafa got his first good look, that straight arm forehand is so big, so spinny, and he can wrong foot you on clay that it just takes one opportunity for Nadal to one-shot you and easily finish a point. And most players on tour do not have a weapon like that on a surface this slow where they can just hit through the court that easily. That's one of the toughest things about playing Nadal. All right, so in this point, we've got Rafa serving on the near side, Ruud receiving on the far side from zone 5, deep position there. Let's see what happens, guys. T-serve, and Rafa really likes to place his serves to set up forehands. Ruud taking kind of a low contact position right here, below waist height for the most part, which could land the ball short. Let's see what actually happens with it, though. He gets decent depth back of zone 2 area, and Nadal is not attacking with his footwork. So Rafa's not in an aggressive position here. It's more of a neutral position, so he probably will not attack on this forehand. He takes it down the line, right, and ends up hitting short in zone 1. And this is a good opportunity for Ruud to get up there and try to attack because it's that really short zone 1 ball, right? Ruud comes up and doesn't take it as early as I would like because he's not taking as much time from Rafa here. He's letting it drop a little bit too much, but it looks like this swing is going to be aggressive. It is aggressive, right? He finds his zone 3 depth right here, so he's got that good aggressive depth, and he's got Rafa in a position where he's really lunging and reaching for the ball, which means he'll probably end up hitting short, but we don't know for sure. Let's check it out. And there's that high hook from Rafa, right? That one lands shorter than he probably wants. But you can see Ruud, it's bouncing so high. Ruud's really not taking it early, and he's positioned behind the baseline. So Rafa's hoping for something neutral or short here. And he gets the short ball, right? There it is. Gets the weak backhand. That one lands clearly inside zone 1. And this is the opportunity for Rafa to really step up and get aggressive. There it is, one shot, right? It's just so easy for him. As soon as he gets an opportunity where he's inside the court in zone 3, getting a ball, landing short in that zone 1, zone 2 position, it's so easy for him to take that giant forehand with the spin, with the speed, and just one-shot somebody. And this time he does it with a small target. He was feeling so confident in his ability to aim it. He hits a small target there and just easily finishes Ruud. All right, so that wraps it up for part 1 of our match analysis of the 2022 French Open final between Rafael Nadal and Casper Ruud. If you found this video helpful or you feel like you learned something today, make sure you smash that like and subscribe button. I'm Jason Frausto for TennisUnleashed.net. I'll see you next time.
Need to get these bands off. Need to get my fans off. She know that I'm a handful, but she can't keep her hands off. You know I want the Bentley coupe. You know I want the Lamb.